and thankful to God and who gives me energy and effort and sense to share my experience with you all. And I also wish to thank Dr. Sriram and his team for his wonderful effort to make this wonderful platform to share the knowledge at this COVID time. And being the COVID time, I like to extend my gratitude to thank the medical and other supporting fraternities who become the barrier of this COVID and they're helping the common public. And why we should thank? Thanking needs no investment, but it needs good heart. Creating gratitude, expressing gratitude creates positive energy and environment around us. So let us be thankful to our parents, let us be thankful to our environment and entire society so that we can have a cordial relations with others. And another thing, so I thank the Dr. Sriram's and team because it is God. What I want to share here is generating or giving an opportunity for development of your life. So this is an opportunity given to you. So for your development, or in the other way, it is an opportunity to avoid destruction from the fire. So this is so that's why I put this word God in such a manner. And my plan of this class is like this. My focus points are here. See, what is fire safety? I'm not going to discuss with you what is fire. I am going to discuss with safety. What is safety? What is fire safety? And the second focus point is, have we learned from incidents, fire incidents? Incident analysis. I'm going to discuss 3 incident analysis. And fire safety requirements as per NBC part 4. This is a fire and life safety part. And but in these aspects, it is a very huge volume of discussions, passive, active, and other. So I am not going to discuss. It's a brief. I am going to give you what is all requirements for a building with reference to fire and life safety, and why building regulations, how the buildings are regulated, how the licenses are issued. That point also we can discuss, and but more discussion will be based on your more questions. And the current challenges to fire safety in the current scenario. What is the status of fire safety in the buildings? So that is how we encounter our issues without regard to life safety. There is a challenges that we are going to see. And finally, what we can do, some recommendations. So this is the focus points I want to share with you. And then comes the zero risk building. So you know all. I am sure you know what is fire. The basic, the 3 basic ingredients, and the 4th factor all together coming. Fire is a chemical interaction. That all you know very well. I'm not going to discuss this. But let me begin with this. What is safety? Being a safety, it is a safety forum, a safety cluster group. And so what is safety? What do we mean by safety? When we say a building is safe, the project is safe, the process is safe, the safe person, safe object, something like when we say safe, what it means by that. So is there any safety without risk? This is my question. Without risk, there is no safety at all. Without theft, there is no police officer. Without fire risk, there is no fire officer. So the safety, the concept of word safety comes based on the risk factors only. So let us understand what is meant by safety. Whatever that we do in our life, whatever we take as a project or process, that has its own inherent factors of positives and negatives. Anything that you take, say any sugar industry, rubber industry, plastic industry, any industry, or even a construction, that has its own side. One side benefit, other side the risk factors. So when you choose a coin, you are choosing the other side of the coin also. So when we want to have a factory, then that gives some benefits for the community. The other side, you have to face the risk factors, and there comes the risk manager's roles, and he has to intervene and maximize the benefits and minimize the risk factors. That is the role of the safety manager here, or risk manager, whatever the way you call. So when we say a building does not have a fire for a period of 15 years or 10 years, does it mean that the building does not have fire hazards or fire risk? No, it is not at all. So it means hazard factors, these factors are there, but the conditions are not fulfilled so that fire has not occurred. So that is the way. So what is safety now we have to design? For example, let me take an example of a safety razor. When the razor becomes a safety razor, a razor is an instrument that is being used for cutting the hair. When I use the razor, that should cut my hair, not the skin of my face. So the razor has a potential of cutting the skin as well as the cutting the hair. But the razor must be designed in such a way, used in such a way, so that the razor only cut the hair, not the skin. Then we call that razor as a safety razor, isn't it? So that is why. So whatever that we take in our hands, that has both sides. I already said, hazard side, risk side, and other side, benefit side. So maximize the benefit side, identify the risk side, identify the hazards. So enforce the safety systems so that you can minimize the risk factors, minimize the hazard factors, and minimize the impact factors. Then we call that place, that object, that building is a safe building. See here, so when the process or the building or the objects, whatever that you take, when the all hazards and risk factors are identified, analyzed, mitigated, and safety systems are provided there. So when the high risk is there, then that object, that process, or that building is called low safety. When the moderate risk, moderate hazard factors, then moderate safety. When the risk factors becomes very low, is very negligible, then in that case we have high safety. So this is called the Allard principle, internationally followed. You all know very well about this. And as low as possible, as low as reasonably possible, reduce the risk factors so that incidents can be minimized. Even the incidents occurs, the impact will be zero. Impact must be zero. That is such a way that safety system should be instilled and maintained and sustained, so that if at all any incident occurs, that impact will be zero. Then that building is called zero risk building. So when I call a zero risk building, that does not mean that doesn't have any hazard factors, risk factors at all. There is a risk factors, there is hazard factors, but that are all identified, minimized, mitigated, and all in acceptable level. So now I can ask you a simple question. A risk is safe when? A risk is safe when it is identified, analyzed, mitigated, measured, and put under controlled system, and the risk factors in acceptable level, then that risk is called safe. So this is the concept that I want to highlight. So the zero risk means it's a zero impact to the occupants in case of any fire happens. So that's the point I want to highlight in this slide. And the market value for safety. What is the value today on safety, fire safety in the market? So there are so many incidents are happening, and more than 25,000 fire calls happened in Tamil Nadu alone. And apart from that, 15,000 rescue and special calls. And I'm telling an average. Current day, maybe some differences may be there. And 59 people die every day at a global level. And the market value for safety, I don't see any value in this, because so many fire incidents happens. The rate of incident is increasing, and the death rate and property losses and the process interruption are going up. But so that is the market situation now. And why it is happens? Because the safety needs marketing, but risk doesn't. Because risk itself a market, it can market itself. But safety needs marketing, because the safety are like seeds which must be nurtured and developed. But risk factors, hazard factors are just like weed that can grow itself. So this is the condition of fire safety, and not only fire safety, any safety. So the incidents happens, but what is the value that we derive from those incidents? See, for example, this 7 incidents. It's not an exhaustive list. Just I noted for a particular purpose for all these fire incidents. This is started from 1975 to 2019. And I am going to discuss these incidents, not all the incidents. I am going to discuss only 3 incidents: the LIC fire, LIC building fire, and the MGM Grand Hotel fire. And I am going to discuss the 2019, the Surat fire. And so this is the three incidents I want to share with you. But before going to this, the LIC, why you may ask me, it's 1975 it happened, why you want to discuss this? And another fire, it's happened in 1980. And so that is also very long. So 40 years back. First one is 45 and this is a 40. And the Kumbhakonam school, and see the private, see, because why I am selecting this, no, there's a specific reasons for this. The government of India and government of Tamil Nadu, even if it is not in proactive manner, in a reactive manner, they have come forward to do some legal actions on this. So see, after LIC4, we will discuss what happened after the discussion. The MGM also will discuss during this incident investigation. Private school, Kumbhakonam. See, after this incident, what happened? The inquiry was committed, and after that, all schools, there is a GO issued by the government of Tamil Nadu that all schools must not be constructed with the combustible items. Only non-combustible items should be made. The GO was there. And secondly, all schools must get a fire safety certificate from the fire department. This is the outcome of this Kumbhakonam fire incident. And marriage hall also, after this, some marriage hall should have a minimum exit that should be insisted that happened from the directorate level. And Grenfell Tower, that is in the London, it happened. It's realistic. In 2017 it happened, and the government of UK came forward and instituted a investigation, and they have investigated all the parties from the, even including the fire department. And the one fire officer came forward and announced that I am not that much trained in handling the high-rise building fires. Such a transparency system was there. And above all, one more important point I want to highlight in this Grenfell Tower is the external cladding, ACP, aluminum composite panel, that spreads the fire to the externally, then it went into that building. The fire started from the one floor, and then that catches the fire by the external cladding. And from the external cladding, that the vertical fire spread, and then all the floors get into fire. So it's a very, and 72 people died in this. See the fatalities rate of all these fires. And the air show, this is no laws here, no human laws, but see, this happened in Delhi and Chennai the next day, the very next day, the 23rd and 24th. And what happened? The air show was happened there, and car parking, very huge car parking was kept there, and 300 cars burnt, and in one Delhi case, and here 170 cars burnt. It is because of a fire happened at the ground and no fire safety measures. So when we park many cars on the ground, it means that a petrol bunk is kept horizontally. It is like that only. Fuel may be different, petrol may be there, diesel may be there, battery spark is there, muffler heat is there. So there must be enough fire protection must be there. That point, that concept has not come so far. Even many programs here, functions here, so many car parks are there. Even some hotels I could see, there are many cars are parked, but without any basic fire protection systems. So that's why I had that point, the sixth point. And the commercial building Surat fire is a very recent tragedy. There, the train is the students, the young students, the innocent students, they have passed their life, the 23. The Kumbhakonam, very young children here, young students. So there's a difference. So let me discuss the incident case. And so, based on this, some government initiatives came forward as a post-fire reaction, and even then pro action must be there. That is not happening so far from the civil side, civilian side, as well as from the government side. And incident analysis of LIC fire. See, LIC is a famous high-rise building in Chennai city, almost I can say South India, and even India level. This is the first time that the previously building was constructed by the line-based construction, Sunambu and Karai. So that's what. So now the RCC-based, concrete-based building is the first time that they come forward. This was constructed by the architect. The architect was from UK initially, And after some time, he went, and that Chitale was the Indian architect who contributed his efforts in this construction of building, and is the tallest in India from 1959 to 1961. And the construction started in 1953 and completed in 1959. And so it has two basement floors, 14 floors, and one terrace floor with a height of 54 meters height. And the plot area is 55 ground, and the total floor area, constructed area, that is usable area, is 1,26,000 square feet. And the building consists roughly of 1,000 tons of steel and 3,000 tons of cement. So see the dead weight of that building. Yeah, see, a building should have I should say here, buildings are not mere static structures; they are dynamic structures. Why they are dynamic? Because they function, they perform. The building performs its function. How? It has to withstand its own weight. Number one. Number two, it has to carry the weight of the imposed weight, just like furnitures and papers and any other office uses materials that you put in, or any machineries that you put in, all imposed weight. And third, the building must faces the external force, just like a cyclone or a flood or earthquake or something. So that is external force that also affect the building stability. That also to be withstand by the building. And the fourth factor is a very important factor, is the inside the building, that is the thermal load, whatever the amount of fire load that have in the building. And in case of fire, if the building systems, firefighting systems, fail to quench the fire at the incipient stage, when the fire was allowed to burn fully, then the calorific amount of heat that will come out from that entire fire load will affect the stability and structural quality of the building, and that building will collapse. So that's why. So, but even after this fire, this LIC building structural stability is so good. So such a way that the building was constructed, and this is designed for 1,500 occupants. And the central AC was planned, and so that is being used right now also. And as per the National Building Code of India, this LIC building is classified under Group E, that is business. Business means services, like a police, fire, office building. It is an office building, and this office occupancy, this comes under E1 category. And fire protection, that is the question mark here. See, fire protection is only fire extinguishers and the hose reel assembly and a common terrace tank. This is a very pity. So even there is no separate fire tank available. Now it is available. I am talking about the before the incident. After the incident, scenario is different. Before the incident, a common terrace tank was provided. That is provided mainly for the purpose of AC cooling purpose. And from that, a line of a downcomer was taken into that, covering all the floors with a hose reels assembly, and fire extinguishers was provided. It's why, because even NBC first formulated in 1970 only, but the building completed come into operation 1959. So that time there is no code to follow, and that building also, and the builders, I mean that architects' point of view also, they don't have that much professional input or insight over the safety of the occupants and the fire safety. So this is a scenario of this LIC fire 1975. And LIC fire accident learnings is the fire occurred on 11/7/1975. At that time, even I have not entered my department also. I joined in department 1982. It is 1975. That time I was studying in a post-graduation in Vivekananda College. So this is 8 p.m. that first floor the fire started, and fire spreads to upper floors through vertical openings. Because you have to imagine a building. Buildings will have a number of more holes, because of you have a plumbing pipes, service pipes, communication cable, power cable, AC duct. All these things are penetrating to the various floors horizontally and vertically. Then these holes are not plugged. reason happened here, and moreover that staircases opening, vertical shaft, lift shaft opening, all other factors supported this fire spread. And no automatic fire suppression and fire containment system. So there is no fire suppression. Even the fire suppression failed, the fire must be contained in the origin place itself by having the fire resistant compartment wall, fire door, so that fire, even in case of fire happened, even the sprinkler system failed to suppress the fire will burn itself in the same place of origin, that will not pass on to the next compartment, so that fire will not spread, people can evacuate easily. So there is a purpose of the fire containment, but this automatic suppression system, fire containment system is not provided there. And falling of burning fragments, molten metal, splinters, and heavy sea breeze happened at that time because nearest to sea, and so that hampered the firefighting. And poor workmanship from fire safety point of view, because the molten metal, this aluminium frames from the windows, and the frames are not fitted well with the building. And when fire happens, that seal all molten become the liquid, and the metal becomes become a liquid state, and all spreading, and so fire spreads everywhere. So fire safety point of view, the fire resistance glazing, fire resistance framing, and there should not be a gap between the wall and the windows, and there should not be any gap in between in which the fire or heat can pass through. So all these things should be taken care. That point of view has not happened there. And water lifting, that was the Herculean task during the firefighting. And I heard that because the 14th story, and how the water can be taken to the the upper floors. That is Herculean task. Even you use the firefighting vehicles, that will go up to 4 or 6 floors. After that, it's a Herculean task. The pressure will need more. So what happened at that time? Nithyanandam was there. He was the ex-director at that time, retired, and he went into that scene, and he put some portable pump into the 10th floor or 9th floor, something like in between. And from ground floor, they have pumped the water through the hoses, and again the pump connected, and the relay system was happened, and a fire was taken in time. So in such a way they fight the fire. And anyhow, it is a very, very pathetic situation. And moreover, that time there is no hydraulic platform at all, hydraulic ladder, hydraulic operated booms. That time there was no single ladder available, and after this fire only, the Tamil Nadu Fire Service Department came forward to purchase the ladder. And now there are so many, even 1 or 2 meters ladders are available with Tamil Nadu Fire Service Department. That time the ladder was not available. After this LIC fire, the government purchased this hydraulic platform to the offered to the Fire Services Department. And no professional fire safety approach. Because why I'm saying this? See, the construction is a professional activity. See, plumbing is a professional activity. Providing electricity is a professional activity. Providing AC is a professional activity. Why not fire safety? That's not happening there. So that is the problem. Because that time the concept was not there. Building, see, we have the knowledge, the know-how from the other nation, but we failed to have that same know-how on safety basis. That is why I said this professional fire safety approach was not available that time. Right now also available, but we are not utilizing it. That is a different point. And have everything excepting safety status. That is a see, in the building C, they have a very, very sound structural stability of that building, and completely modern, and AC, different floors with all spacious and very cool feeling, to have all facilities except the safety. So that is the status we found in that LIC incident. That is why I took this incident, because it's one of the first very famous historical building like in Chennai. And even after 61 years, the passive safety system, the passive safety culture still not happened in our modern buildings. So that is the main point I want to highlight from this LIC incident. See, the incident happened 61 years back. Still now, almost many buildings lack this provision of passive safety culture. It is meant to save your life. That's not happening. So there's a point I want to highlight in this. Then I am going to discuss this incident analysis 2, MGM Grand Hotel fire in 1980. See, this is also very long back, but it's a very historical fire. It happened in USA. See, this is the, you see, there's a structure of the MGM hotel. And so it's a T-shaped building. This is called a T-shaped building. And the fire started in the casino. There's the Delhi, you have put one Delhi word. And so that the Delhi means that is where the food items are, this place, this is a place where the items are stored and given to occupants, a guest. So that's the thing. The fire happened here. The problem with this building is that T-shaped structures are used for guest hotel, and these other lower part, low rise. This is, here you can see high rise and low rise. Low rise part is where the casino, that's called the casino. Casino means it's a gambling place. Night it will be so busy. The guest will be sleeping in the daytime. Night all guests will be assembled in the gambling area, and dance will be there, and mercantile and every facility will be there, and even boozing, all these things will be there here. So it's very famous in the USL. So this is a condition. The T-tower building is completely sprinkled, but this portion, this low-rise portion is not sprinkled, because that law does not require to be sprinkled with this height and with this occupancy. There are two factors that authority give an exemption for these areas not to be sprinkled, because of its height and because of its occupancy type. But this is the height and the hotel occupancy. This is sprinkled. So there is one thing. Second thing, from this low rise to the high rise, the way exits are connected. The people can go to the room and they can come back to the casino area. But the exit routes and the plumbing and the duct routes, AC ducts, all are not at all protected by in such a way. So that is another missing point here. So this is the structural situation of the building. See, the building is constructed in 1970, 21 floors. It consists of casino. That means that some gambling or challenging game will be there, and showrooms, conventional halls, and facilities, and mercantile complex and guest rooms. Also, there's a combination, a multi-combination. 4 stairwell, central AC system, and partly fireproof steel. See, this mostly steel is used, and some of the places steel was insulated, and some places it's not insulated. And so when the steel was not insulated, when it catches heat, that will transmit immediately. Conductivity is so high in case of steel. And when steel reaches the 250 degrees centigrade, it will fail. Its strength will be gone away. So this is a condition of this. That's why the steel beam, steel column should be protected totally. And so that's not happening there. And double loaded corridor, that means a corridor will be there, both sides guest room will be there. So that suppose say 20 rooms this side, 20 rooms this side. So 40 rooms, the corridor should have the occupants capacity of the 40 rooms guests. So it's called a double loaded corridor. And no fire separation wall between T-tower sprinkled and casino not sprinkled. I have last story was shown. The fire separation wall must be there. So that is the fire resistance wall. In case of fire happens at the casino, the fire separation wall not allow the fire to spread to the other part of the T-tower building. That's not happening there. And a casino is 68,000 square feet, and Delhi, that is a food serving place, 3,500 square feet. So you see the huge size. So when you see this huge size, you should imagine the material involved in that area. The foam items, plastic items, furnitures, wood furnitures, and almost 80 to 90% not only combustible items, but high flame spread items will be there, especially in hotels. Decorative items, wall linings, roof linings, and see that can catch fire just like this, just like it will act like an explosion only. So it's just a huge risk. So see the polyvinyl chloride and polyurethane, foam plastic. See, not only this will start immediately burning, spread easily, and above all, it will give toxic smokes. So that's a problem. Suppose if oxygen level is low there, it will generate carbon monoxide, CO. It's very dangerous to life. So this is the situation. And see the partial covering of MCP fire reduction. This is also very pathetic in such a developed country there. The building is partially covered, MCP. MCP means manual call points. In case of automatic fire reduction does not work, alarm failed, then you can raise by using this manually. This is called, that's why it's a manual call point. And the fire reduction. And so incident date, 3,400 registered guests was there. And so day sleeping, night gambling. That is the style of that Las Vegas. There's a Las Vegas is a famous city for this, and in UK, USA. And so the people tend to sleep in the daytime, and night heavy gambling will be there. So the night will be day and day will be night. So that is a condition there. And so see the picture as a smoke traveled to the rooms, people realize the grave danger they were. So see the condition, the people cannot come out using the corridor and escape staircases because the building, there are a lot of holes and the gaps are there that spreads huge amount of smoke into that area. So people only escape by coming out by this way only. So this is the condition happened there. And see, the rescue was done by using some portable ladder, and sometimes that helicopter was used. The people found dead on the lower floors were covered with the soot. Lower floors are completely soot fired because the dense smoke soot was there. But in the upper floors, there were not. They were clean, and they were only see. This is that the man is putting his hands. That is the what is that earthquake allowance connectivity and seismic joints. From the joints also the smoke spreads. So, what is the learning points from this MGM fire? It happened 40 years ago, and still it holds good. And the last 85 occupants and 650 seriously injured. 250 million USD lawsuit compensation was done, and in addition to building cost of 30 million. And partial sprinkler coverage is useless. It's good for nothing. It is better not to have a sprinklers throughout the building instead of having a part sprinkler building. So because it is the attitude, look beyond the code does not happen there. If they, as per the code, they provided sprinklers in partially, and the code does not require, they didn't. But as a performance requirement, that is required. Now it is a lesson that we have learned from this. Okay, so the partials, what the code says, that is different. That gives the minimum requirement only. But as per your occupancy requirement, risk requirement, and you should have the extra mile, and you can go 1 degree more so that the safety can be increased, the safety factor can be increased. That does not happen there. So they comply the requirement of the code, fail to go beyond the code. That is the reason that much huge amount of a number of losses happened there. And the passive fire safety, very, very poor, and caused smoke and carbon monoxide spread through lift, hoist, well, and the shafts, unplugged holes. So that is the main, see, this is a very, very dangerous. This gap still exists in many buildings. In many buildings, modern buildings, this passive safety is not highlighted and insisted and not provided and not maintained and not tested. All these things are happens in this passive fire safety. And no fire integration, no dampers. It's a very pathetic. Here's the AHUs are there, but AHU doesn't stop during that fire. See, normally when alarm gets activated, that AHU must be stopped, integrated. AHU and the alarm system must be integrated. This is called the fire integration. So when the fire alarm started, the integration should work like how the lift must come down to the ground floor, and AHU must be stopped automatically. Smoke exhaust in the basement should start on. So these are all the fire integration system. What should be on, what should be off. But that's not happening in that MGM fire. So that is the main reason it kills many. and double corridor, travel distance more than 150 feet. So this is also too high. And so the travel distance, number of means of exit, location of exit, width of the staircase, all very pertinent and very important to the point of fire safety point of view. And in addition to that, fire resistance rating, fire compartment, that's not happening here. That is a main flaw. And no emergency plan. See such a hotel, more than 3,400 guests were there. What about the emergency plan, emergency response system? See, I will tell you one thing, especially these public assembly areas like hotel and other malls and cinema theaters. See, whatever the system, the world number class 1 system you have, but the emergency response team must be there, because these occupants are not known to this place. They are not accustomed to this place. In case of emergency, they lose their normality. So their intelligence will go. So only the response team should assist them. They are the grip, they are the help, and they should come forward to help them in such a way so that guests can be helped. So that's not happening there. They are helpless. And MOE, means of egress, deficiency in a fire resistance rating. So fire resistance ratings, all means of escape should have a fire resistance rating with the fire door. And so that in case of fire happens, even fire not suppressed by fire extinguishers or fire sprinklers, then fire containment must be there by fire resistance wall, fire doors, so that the people can escape by using stairs, which is fire resistant. And so this is not happening there. So that is a main reason. And we can see the next. Can you imagine, where is this place? This is Surat, Gujarat. It's happened in 2019. So incident analysis 3, Surat fire. This building is known as Takshashila Arcade. Okay? And it's a consist of a ground plus 2 plus 1 plus 1. Why I put like this? This building was authorized to construct ground plus 2 floor only. But this fellow constructed 1 floor illegally. Okay. Then after some time, when this illegal third floor was regularized after some efforts by the government of Gujarat, then that fellow put 1 more floor, the terrace floor. So this is a G plus. That is why I put like this. G plus 2 is authorized. 1 that was later regularized, and the other one, the terrace floor, was not at all authorized. So this is the structural fact of this building, and permitted for residential but modified as commercial. This is another misuse of the building. This is happening nowadays also in many places. That building permitted for residential, but it will be converted as a training or a school or a kindergarten school or something like this. People are using like this only. And only 1 concrete stair up to 3rd and wooden stair to 4th floor, from 3rd floor. That is extended. So see, this is the condition. Only 1 staircase for the entire building. The building is approximately 50 meter wide and 35 meter length. And mixed occupancy, hardware, saloon, clinic, medical, training, mobile shops, and plenty. And then there's a teaching and training center was there in the 3rd and the terrace floor. And the fire safety, no fixed firefighting system. It's only a fire extinguisher. Maybe I don't know. I'm not aware of this. Whether it's I don't know whether it's a put or not. And fire started at the ground floor by 3:45 p.m. and spreads via staircase to the 3rd and 4th level. Okay, only 1 staircase is available. From that side, fire was started. At the ground floor, some vehicles were parked, bike and vehicles, that also catched fire. So nobody can enter into that staircases. Nobody can come out from the building, and nobody can enter into. That is the scenario in which fire happened there. And the vertical flux banner, electrical cabling with the meter boxes located in the staircases led the fire fast. So flux banner was there in the means of escape, and the vertical, so it catches fire immediately. And electric is it was suspected that electrical spark from that meter box, and that started fire the cabling, and it connected the vertical flux, and breezing that was so heavy that makes the fire fast and spreads to the lifted the flame and smoke to the third and fourth floor, I mean terrace floor. See, so this is the building size you can see here. You can see that ground and first and floor are attacked. Even third floor also partially damaged, and only on the staircase side there was a damage. See, it's this side. This is the fire started this side. Here only the damage was there. The other part are remaining safe. But terrace floor, that is the entire terrace floor was damaged, and so you can see from this. I believe you have seen that video. Video was visible there. Hello.
Yes, sir. Yes, yes.
Okay. So the message from the Surat tragedy. See, 23 people killed, 19 seriously injured, mostly by smoke and fire gases. Because the terrace floor was used for the training, and even some tires were kept as a sitting medium. And tire when burns, that use a toxic gases. And egress is paramount importance. That is not happening there. Number and location and width of these staircases never be missed out any building, especially when building more than 2 floors and the size is more than 500 square meter. Then definitely there must be minimum 2 exits, and then based on the occupancy, based on the participants, based on the visitors, that must be increased. And no fire safety compliance, active and passive, nothing. It is a criminal offense. So this is that's the first. Now we have to relate this incident to the first question, whether the fire safety requirement is a moral need or a legal requirement. Now you can get the answer. Okay, so the no fire safety compliance and unauthorized construction, modification, change of occupancy shall be done without due permission. Shall be done with due permission. Without permission should not be done like this, because when we change the occupancy, you are changing the characteristics of hazard, fire spread capability, all these things. So definitely there must be authorization must be there. And no combustible items, no electrical instruments shall be kept in or near with the exit stairs and or alternate. So that is a very important lessons that we should take out from this Surat thing. One more thing that I want to share. No? A man without awareness or learning in his journey move 2 steps forward and get 1 step backward. So this is the condition, the safety today we have in a fire safety like this. And most of the points we discussed still have the relevance in the day-to-day requirement. say 1975, 1980, and 2019. So far, so many incidents happens, but nothing is learned. Nothing is corrected. Still, there are many gaps are there that connects the 1970 incident still holds good. And both the people and the governments are indifferent to the safety requirement because it's the most severe safety is the most neglected part. Both say I see the responsible people also responsible. See, even in Chennai also people are telling, see the Chennai silk and other Ranganathan seat is a very hazardous. When we go into that building, we have a fear. All telling, but people are still going much, and so there must be the both side responsibility must be there, and so the both government and people are indifferent to the safety requirements, and because the fire safety is a thing, it is admired by all and appreciated by many, and but only practiced by very few only. See, because it is only media focused. When the say fire safety needs comes when fire accident comes. So when medias are flashing this, then the government and people department come forward, and the very pathetic culture right now we have is this: whenever the incident happens, then we find fault with somebody who is at fault, not what is at fault. That is the change that we should have. When any incident happens, then we must have what is at fault, not who is at fault. When suspending a person, that is not going to help the safety system. Okay, that may have a deterrent effect for somebody, but when the system must be corrected, system must be established, system must be institutionalized in such a way so that safety can withstand, then can sustain. And so, having seen all these things and so many fire accidents, I should say there is no community spread of fire safety like COVID spreads now. So, what is required is community spread of fire safety, community spread of fire safety awareness. So, that must be there, that's not happening. And because we fail to institutionalize the safety system. So, that's why. So, that's why when you plan for your life safety, then that's good. When you fail to plan, you are planning to for your more disasters are planning to fail. So that's it. So with this, I will move next discussion point. So the next point is the fire safety strategic management. How the National Building Code of India helps or guides us to have a building totally safe. A building total safety includes fire safety, life safety. These are both together building safety. Okay, there's a total safety. So the fire safety, the primary objective is ensuring life safety. Goal, I should say goal, ensuring life safety, ensuring property safety, and ensuring process safety. So there's a business continuity plan. So this is the primary goal of this fire safety management. So this is a goal. How to achieve this goal? If at all we want to achieve a goal, then you should have two types of requirements. One is a strategic management, another one is a tactical management. What is a strategic plan? What is strategic plan? Suppose if you want to go to Mumbai, okay, that is your plan. That strategic plan is how you are going to do. You are going to choose a flight or a train or by car. So that is so choosing a car or choosing a flight is a tactical requirement, and the strategic plan is to move in time, to move within a specified period, so that accordingly you have to choose the tactical requirement. So this is the strategic and tactical management. And so National Building Code, not only the National Building Code of India and any international code of life safety have these basic objectives. This is a strategic objectives. Manage fire prevention. So how to manage the fire prevention? So the better way of fighting the fire is to prevent the fire, not fight the fire. So how to prevent the fire? How the fire can occur in your building? Identify those risk factors. Okay, see, you cannot eliminate complete fire hazard from a building. That is impossible. Okay, what is possible? You can reduce, you can address the risk factors, you can reduce the risk factors so that fire may not happen, even the fire hazards are available. So that is the fire prevention management. Okay. So manage fire prevention is preventing the fire occurrence by attending. But for example, in many organizations, they have a work permit system and other SOP systems, proper maintenance systems, so that no incident will be happens there. So fire prevention is the prime objective, the prime duty, and then the second strategic goal is alert and prevent the fire development. Alert and prevent the fire development. How? Why we should alert? Why we should prevent? Because alert means when fire accidents happens at a particular place, then alarm should be started so that occupants as well as the emergency response team must be informed in time so that their response capacity, response time will be so high and effective. That is a purpose of alert. Why prevent the fire development? Once the fire happens, that must be suppressed immediately. Okay, so otherwise the fire size will be go high and the damage will go high, and firefighting efforts must also be high. So that is the point of preventing the fire development. So for what the tactical requirement is, provide fire reduction alarm system, including the public address system and including the manual call point system. That is the purpose. And separate the occupants from harmful effects of fire. Okay. And also sprinkler. The last point is prevent development only by providing sprinkler system also. So that fire can be contained there itself. That will not allow to spread. So fire alarm system, sprinkler system, and hydrant system, hose system, fire extinguisher system, all these things comes into this place. This is a tactical requirement. Next strategic requirement is separate the occupants from the harmful effects of the fire. Suppose in case the fire suppression system, fire reduction system fails. Okay. So then what is the next defense? The next defense is the fire originates, then the fire must be contained there itself. That fire must not be allowed to pass on to the next chamber, next room. So that is a way we should have a fire resistance wall, fire resistance door, and fire ceilings, fire stoppings, all the plug the holes like this. So that is why. So that in case of even fire happens, the harmful effects, what are the harmful effects? Smoke, toxic gases, heat, all these things. Flame that will not pass on to the next room, so that will contained there itself. And not only it will be contained, it will give an evacuation time, enough time for the occupants to go out. So that is another advantage on this point. This is another strategy. So the strategy requirement is contain the fire. Tactical requirement is fire resistance wall, compartmentation, and fire doors and fire ceilings, all these things. Then the next thing is facilitate building to move the occupants to a place of safety. So not only that fire must be contained, but occupants must be sent away, because the fire containment for an hour or 2 hours, because fire resistance rating of wall will be 4 to 2 hours or 1 hour. A door may be 2 hours, but it's all for a prescribed level. Suppose the intensity or severity of the fire is more, then the fire resistance rating of 2 hours will be minimized into 1 hour. So it don't depend upon the fire separation, fire containment alone, because life safety depends upon so many factors. So the other next factor, the important defense level is facilitate building with the means of escape. The staircases protected, fire resistance rated, fire door provided, emergency light provided, non-slippery steps and handrails, and emergency communication, lighting. So all these things must be provided so that people can escape to the place of safety. So that is the facilitate. Then the next level is design and develop response behavior of the occupants. That is, if you have a system in the building, fire extinguishers are there. How many of you are able to operate the fire extinguisher? How many of you are able to switch on or switch off the detector system or sprinkler system? How many are able to operate the fire hydrant system? So the skill set, the necessary knowledge, what to do in case of fire, how to handle, how to inform, how to communicate others, so how to help the occupants. So these are all required practices. This specified and dignified team must be there. They must have enough knowledge, skill set, training, and practice, and so that they can behave well and safely and help others also. So this is the strategical tactical requirement. This is the basic requirement of any building code. So this is a general thing. And the methodology. So this is the objective, how we are going to achieve this. The passive system, and the three basic systems: passive system, active system, and fire integration. Passive system, I told, is for life safety purpose, and active system for fire safety purpose. Passive system helps the fire containment and not allowing the smoke into these staircases by having a pressurization system, all these things. And active system is meant to fight the fire. Active system like fire extinguisher, hydrant system, hose reel, and sprinkler system, detector system, and any flooding system or water mist, something like that. Like this all comes under active system. Why it is active system? Because it needs some energy to activate themselves. A passive system needs no energy from externally. It will act by its own design and its natural properties. For example, fire door. In case of fire, it will not be activated by any power or any by man. It can stop the prevention and penetration of a flame or smoke and like that. So this is the passive system. Fire integration is nothing but connecting the passive active together so that building can be safe. As I already discussed, lift operation and the stopping of AHU and smoke, all these things. So this is called the methodology by which a building safety is implemented and enhanced. And just I'm not going to discuss this because it will take much. Just I will highlight this. Just many of them may aware of this compartmentation to contain the fire. Any floor area more than 750 square meter, that must be divided into two parts by having a fire resistance wall, so that fire happens in one part, they will not be allowed to the next part. It's compartmentation. Critical structural fire protection. Any structure that bears the load of the building, that must be protected, fire rated. And the fire seal, that I already explained, the holes and gaps must be plugged by the, and the fire doors. Refuge area is the alternative. Secondly, when people cannot use the staircases and they should come to this refuge area, they will stay there temporarily, and by ladder or by hydraulic platform they can be rescued in case of emergency. And protected means of escape, I already told. And ramp and access for fire service people, fire service vehicles should have access and approach. And fire separation is the distance between building to building. A 9 meter distance at least must be there, so that in case of fire happens, one building that will not spread to the other building. This is a fire separation provision. And fire active safety, and there's a fire extinguishers, automatic fire detection, alarm, manual call points. So these are all the different various systems available. Now, no time to explain all these things. And only thing, pressurization system, that will be pumping the air into the staircases. The pump may be normally placed at the terrace floor, and in case of fire detection activated, then the pump the motor started and pumping the air into the staircase inside, so that pressure will be more than 1 bar pressure, so that in case of opening from the work floor, a person entering into the staircase, the smoke will not enter into the staircase, only air will go to the workplace. This is a defense system that we have, the pressurization system. And all this, everything has its own purpose. Please mind that everything has its own purpose. But even a fireman lift, that is also a requirement. A smoke exhaust system is the most important requirement. And so it is a separate class is required to define all these things, to understand the basic purpose and special purpose. Everything has its own basic purpose and special purpose, like this. So coming to this point, and to this last, John Ruskin. John Ruskin is a famous economist, and who wrote an economical article stating that the last grade of the person in office, let's say a peon, or the last grade of a person in a society, must have the right to live in his throughout his life. That is the point that he highlighted, and that is the same point is supported in the Article 21, constitutes protection to life, right to live, right to live. That is a spirit that is given, protected in the Article 21, and killing and self-killing is an offense. Why? Killing yourself and or killing others is an offense, because your body, your life is given to you, and you cannot create your body. When you are not the creator, you are not supposed to destroy the property. So that is a purpose behind this, and that is why, and this IPC comes, and Even IPC is that is why the IPC come forward to arrest the people who committed suicide or killing others. And even when fire incidents happens, people are arrested because of this point. You have no right to kill anybody else by your negligence. So that's a point. And health and safety, it's a civic responsibility. And see now the COVID period, how the governments are struggling, and the both central and state governments are struggling their level. And so that is because the civic responsibility of providing health and safety to the public, and the codes and standards on safety because of this. And actually the codes and standards reflects our past experiences. Basically, for example, say 1970 fire, LIC fire, and this MGM fire. Based on these fires only, people learn, and the government authorities and the law regulating bodies come forward to express having a based on such an experience. They are formulating these codes and standards for the future benefits. And the NBC Part 4, 2016 is the latest one, and this is also the same spirit, and we have discussed the points. And the NBC is a common guideline for the entire India, and it is being implemented differently in different states. And that is why the Fire Services Act came in, and each fire services has their own Fire Service Act, and they have their own rules on this, and accordingly that is being regulated, the fire safety being regulated. And then now the next point is coming to the regulation points, the building permits, how the buildings are permitted. So when you want to construct a building, you should submit the plan to the building development authorities, and they will scrutinize the plan, and they will, if it is right, they will approve it. Before approving it, they will pass on a copy of this to this some department like police, fire, traffic, and aviation. Something depends upon the building size and height, and so they will give their NOC with the conditions. The conditions must be fulfilled. And for example, if the building permit comes to the fire department scrutinize the plan, whether they will see whether exits are there, how many exits are there, what is the location of the exits, all these things. Also, so they will say any changes needed, then they will mark it or return it. So it's like this. So this is a point of view, and after that, the fire services given NOC, or then the traffic and the other regulating bodies. Then finally, the building authorities will give the permission, and they will give compliance completion CC, and then you can occupy. This is a normal system here. But why the development should be regulated? Because if the development is not regulated, then if if it is uncontrolled development is called cancer. Okay, so the development should have a control, because your development should not affect the others' development, others' health, others' life. So that is why they are building. When you construct a building, that building must comes under some regulations, general requirements and control requirements, so that the public health, public safety is maintained on this. That is the purpose behind these regulations, government regulations. The various departments may be there, but unfortunately there are many deviations happens in the building constructions. Now the deviations comes under regulations. That becomes the regular feature of this country, unfortunately. But so that is the purpose of this building regulations and things. See here, and freedom, liberty, right, and permission. See, freedom is a general, very wider term. So that freedom means freedom means it's absence of constraints or compulsion. So we are not slaves. We are not. We are ruling ourselves. That is a freedom. And liberty is a form of freedom. It is just like a concrete form of freedom, and it's connected with your what you do, what you can do with a responsibility. Without responsibility, you don't have a liberty. Liberty is you can do whatever you want with the responsibility. So you can do building construction. You have a freedom of building construction, but with the liberty of having the building construction on your own requirement, but following the regulations. So that is the liberty. So when you follow the regulations, when you imply your responsibilities, then you can have the right to have the building, and you will be given permission for this. So this is the general order of these government systems. And just I'm pausing because of the time. Otherwise, you can do some more points also. And challenges by design. See now the excessive travel distance. See even 1970, that even 80, that MGM building also we have seen excessive travel distance. Still we could see travel distance. excessive travel distance. Even for example, when the building is permitted, the exit, the distance between the exits will be okay. But when the client comes into that building, they have their inner modifications and changes, the travel distance will be more. And people are not taking care on these points. And so, and inadequate exits width, number of exits, width, see, we have already seen electrical installations in the exits. See, we have also seen in that case studies. And AC utilities in the part of stairs. It's many, even refuge areas, some people kept the staircase, even the AC utilities, all these things. And narrow space for wrong design for FHSE. See, FHSE should fire pump house and fire hydrant cabin. FHSE means fire hydrant cabin. They should have a minimum required space. So without that, so tomorrow some repair happens, or we have to change pipes, or we have to do some painting. It's very difficult to do that. In such a way, the very narrow space, because they want to have more space in the floor area. They want to reduce as much as possible in other utility areas. That is the concept, attitude we have. And the nil or poor smoke venting, and nil or poor compartmentation. Compartmentation, it's not at all there. Any building, the passive system is a ultra total failure system. And useless refuge area will be there, but for namesake that area will be there, that will be locked condition, and nothing, no light will be there, and even that cannot be reached directly in case of emergency. So these are all the points. And improper fire pump house. The pump house will be very narrow, or in the third basement or second basement, and some places there is no access at all. Only by jumping like a monkey, we should come down, we should come up by using a ladder. So these are all the things happening in the fire pump house. And water storage design also wrong. They will provide one tank without any compartmentation. Suppose any maintenance, one compartmentation water can be used in case of emergency. The other compartment can be cleaned. That is not happening in practically. So there must be our codes are telling what should be the design, what should be the size, what should be, how the compartmentation should be. All these things not followed. And hiding, blocking, suppression, sprinklers provided in the basement, but that will be hidden, that will be blocked by the HVAC duct or some. So it is some. So the and so like director like this. So one service will affect the other service. So that is a way in which we have the modern challenges in the fire safety in design here. And see, these are all the simple recommendations. Just it's my thought I want to share with you, and you can you can add more value into this. If some practical people may be there, they can add more value into that. And safety policy, why is missing? I'm sorry. Safety policy commitment. Without a safety policy, there is no safety action at all. Safety policy is a seed. I said seed. Without seed, there is no growth of plant, and there is no development of safety at all. And commitment to have the safety policy, to practice the safety policy, to put the policy to practice, what we need is a top management commitment, and that is not happening in many of the places. Many of the places, safety in the paper form, in the table form, not on the ground level platform. And protected means of escape, that is one of the most important requirement. Building compliance, that's a basic requirement is not complied. And then how can you go for a fire excellence? So when you are not complied to the basic requirement, you cannot think of fire excellence at all. There is a problem. So and PPM, and so PPM is a periodical preventive maintenance of firefighting equipments and HVAC equipments, all critical equipments. Without the periodical maintenance, they will not, the reliability and usability will go down, the quality will go down, the life will go down, and in case of emergency, they will not work. When an object does not work in the normal time, definitely that will not work in the abnormal time. This is Murphy law. And mock drill practice. This is many people doing this as for formal sake, for compliance sake, because the auditor will come and ask us. This is not a in the WTC tower, 3,000 people escaped because of the stringent and disciplined practice of mock drill only. So mock drill is the last line of your defense, because life safety, the success of life safety always preceded with the layers of failures. We have to overcome one failure after another failure after another failure. Then only you can succeed your success. So that is the thing we have to remember here. And the third party audit is a very, very important point, because your building must be assessed. What is the fire load 10 years back? What is the fire load 10 years after? So what is the fire load at 20 years back at your residence? What is the fire load at now, right now? We have all hazards, more hazardous our home is now. Do you have a fire extinguisher at your home? Do you have a fire extinguisher at your car? If you have, can you operate? No. So these are all the things that we must understand and we must equip and we must prepare ourselves against the fire safety and life safety. And the comprehensive coordination and construction process, that's not happening because the building stakeholders, civil engineer, electrical engineer, mechanical engineer, fire engineer, and the structural engineer, no, they are not coordinated themselves and they work on their own in isolation. So that is why buildings has many problems in case of emergency. And above all, the multi-story buildings, multi-level floors occupied by multi-tenants or multi-occupants. They have different ownership, different philosophy, different coordination, different communication level. In case of emergency, how they will connect together, how they will, who will coordinate, who will control. So see, these are all the hectic problems of the modern day. And ERP and ERT, emergency response plan, based on your need. Emergency response plan, people have their response plan general. It is not required at all. You require your specific plan of your own requirement. Okay, that's the emergency response plan that is suitable to your requirement, to your occupancy, to your pupil. Okay, and the emergency response team members. And so, see how the people are the type of people. See, for example, take a hospital occupancy and hotel occupancy. See, mall. See, they have a different types of hazards, multiple hazards there, multiple risks are there. So the people must be there to respond all these things because you cannot expect the public to learn all these things and behave well in case of emergency. So the owner, the building owner or the occupier should have the responsibility of keeping a suitable emergency response plan and well equipped, well trained, and well skilled emergency response team so that they can save their life of their own as well as the occupants, visitors, and the property and the process. And last point is see, the safety must be the core part of our culture, but unfortunately, we have the contra culture actually, and we blame others instead of blaming ourselves. Know yourself, understand your level of safety, where you are standing, what is your level of improvement from the last year to this year, and what is your benchmark of enhancing your excellence of nothing is there. So no such thought at all available. And you have seen so many fires and all these things, and a lot of fires we have seen. See, a small spark is enough to support a fire, to create a fire. A small spark is just enough to create a fire. But we see big fires, but all these big fires are not enough to create a small spark in the minds of human minds. Still, we have no prevention. Still, we don't have go for a protection. And even how many fires you need to create a spark in your mind is what that Abdul Kalam said, ignited minds. So let us have the fire in us, and let us have the determination and determine ourselves. And the safety should begin. Begin it at your home. Keep your home first safe. Keep your pupil at home safe. Let them understand what is the minimum requirement, what the level of knowledge they require, what level of skill they require in case of any fire happens. Suppose a kiwi table catches fire at your home. How will you respond? How will you fight the fire? What will you do? What should you do? What should not do? So these are all the minimum level of preparation must be there at your home level so that you can keep the same attitude, same level of understanding and application at the office level also. So that if you keep your home safe, you can help to keep the same safe nation. So with this, I conclude this class. Thank you all for your patient listening. And thank you once again, the Dr. Sriram and the safety team for their wonderful opportunity giving this effort. Thank you all. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. It was a very nice learning session for everybody. Sir, can we take the question and answer session now?
Yes.
There are some of questions which are asked in the Q&A, if you see on the left side of your screen.
Shall I close this PPT?
Yeah.
Yes.
So on the left side Q&A, yes.
Yes.
So You can scroll down. You have many questions which have come up. So if you want me to choose and ask you a question, I can do that. Or if you want,
Yeah, just you can ask the question, I will answer.
okay, no problem.
Music is not sure what answer. So you ask the question, I will answer the question.
Okay, okay. Yeah, is this question and answer session now? You can type your questions in the Q&A part. So one by one, I'll start asking Sir so that he will answer these questions.
One is asking what is fireproof steel.
Yeah.
Okay, fireproof steel. See, the steel is the conductivity is high in case of steel. The conduction of heat will be so easy in case of steel. So if a steel beam is there in one part and the steel beam extended to the other part, the heat will be conducted to the next room, even though you have a fire resistance wall. Okay, so the heat will be communicated to the next room, then the fire will start there. That is why the steel connecting the other two chambers must be protected. They're covered with a concrete or that means insulated with the fire resistant material. That is called the fireproof steel. And do you suggest firefighting equipments are really required in our home, especially to control kitchen fire? Do you suggest firefighting equipments are really required in your home, especially to control kitchen fire? Yes, definitely you need equipment to fight the kitchen fire. How will you fight the kitchen fire in case suppose a fire happens, a frying pan, oil catches fire? How will you fight the fire without an extinguisher or without a blanketing method? Definitely you need some system to fight the fire equipments. Definitely require. And how to prevent our home from electrical fire, especially during overload or short circuit. See, this is electrical safety, and Dr. Sriram is an expert on this. And anyhow, we should the misuse of electricity. There is a one point we should avoid. And when the equipment is used, then that must be switched off, cut off from the connections. That is also there. And apart from that, the safety devices like MCB and ELCB, all these things should be provided so that you can avoid, and the earthing bonding should be so proper, and all your periodical switches and electrical cabling should be tested for its quality. When the age is long and use is long, then the quality will go down. And more than 300 cars on fire in Bangalore during 19 is not another example. No risk assessment carried out, no emergency. Yes, that is what I said. How calculate a fire load? Fire load can be calculated because you have to weigh the total amount of combustible items available, and you have to grade the combustible item into plastic, wood, or some different types will be there, and all these items must be equated with the fire wood calorific value. Then we have to multiply it, and then we have to divide the entire fire load by the square area so that fire load density will come. And Raj Kumar, while Modern Public Education College. No question. Good session, no, only appreciation comes. Is evacuation assembly point mentioned in NBC in refuge area as a refuge area? Evacuation point not mentioned in NBC because it is a practical requirement. It is a good practice that we should have. No code mentions the assembly area anywhere. As far as my knowledge knows, anywhere. No, the assembly area is not required as per the code or per standard, but it is a practical requirement required for the occupant safety. How the residual life of structure can be evaluated post fire incidents. There is a team is there, even IIT there is a team review after earthquake, after fire. There is a engineering analysis will be there, and they will test the stability and the strength of the material. So there's an engineering approach that must be there. That cannot be explained now. Is there any technique available? Yes. What is frequency of third-party audit? A third-party audit should be done as per the National Building Code of India once in 2 years. But I think it is too long. At least the third-party audit should be done at least once in a year. Depends upon the severity of the occupancy. If the moderate occupancy like residential building or something like that, you can do once in 2 years. If it is the hospital or some storage areas, the quantity of fire load and the quality of the burning behavior all will change, depends upon the different materials. In this case, and it's better to have a audit in once in a year. how do fire load calculations I explained, and so what should be the distance from the location to the safe assembly area. So these are all practical constraints. We cannot say on 500 meter. Some places we do not have the space at all. People should stand in the road. Many buildings are like this only. So we cannot, because it is all many practical problems are there. Assembly area is one of the practical requirement. Whenever you can accommodate it, as long as safe as long as there's a two considerations must be there. If you put assembly area nearby the building, in case of earthquake, then there's a problem. Okay. In case of fire, also it's a problem. So it depends upon your physical availability. You have to keep this. Is there any checklist available to ensure compliance? Yes, checklists are available. What kind of fire safety prevention can we make during construction stage? Yeah, fire safety prevention during construction stage is a very typical problem, and during the construction stage, live bare wire will be there, and temporary connections will be there. Exits may be blocked or locked, something like that. So means of escape, electrical safety, and all these things must be taken care. And open flame, whenever you allow open flame for welding, all these things should be taken care, should be barricaded. There are a lot of measures are there, and so we should. There is a separate session we need. Aluminium windows, aluminium frame with the glass is allowed in industry. It is it is allowed or not, that is different, but it's wrong. It is, see, aluminium will melt, and see that you have seen so many fires. Aluminium composed cladding, external cladding. There's a heavy cost for the external fire spread. Is it possible to call fire department to train the employees on industrial emergency response? Is there any defined procedure or format to call? Why don't you connect to the fire department in this respect? Definitely they will help you, and they have some provision of training also for a week time. So there is a provision is available. Please connect to the fire department in this respect. Excellent narration. You sum up very well. That's fine. And LPG bottling plant, we notice fireproof cements applied on columns of sphere. What is chemical composition of this fireproof cement? How recurrently? What, I don't understand. What is recurrently? How frequently? Frequently we have to check. LPG bottling plant, we notice fireproof cements applied on columns. See, the composition really I do not know, and it's basically all fire resistance material. By nature, that will not allow the penetration of smoke or heat. But see, the concerned person should answer this. And amazing session. Okay. Okay. Color code of emergency exit as per NBC, green color. What frequency of check? What is frequency of check of what? I don't understand the question. What is frequency of check? Frequency of check means, for example, if you want to check the fire extinguisher, monthly check is there. Once in 15 days, once in a week. So this is the frequency. It's the physical inspection once in a week, and liquid level and content level once in a month, and hydraulic pressure test. So that depends upon type of extinguisher, 2 years or 3 years or 5 years. So this is a frequency of check. From which website can get NBC from chapter recent revisions? You have to buy this from the BIS, Bureau of Indian Standards. What is the standard time to evacuate all the occupants during the, what is mock drill? See, standard time we cannot say. Standard time depends upon the height of the building, type of the pupil, and the type of facility you have. And so the standard time depends upon the what quality of firefighting system you have, what quality of fire resistance system compartmentation you have. So it all depends upon that only, the required time available. See, normally we have 1,000 people or 3,000 people. Definitely they will take 20 to half an hour, even sometimes 45 minutes also. But you cannot increase their speed of evacuation, because there is a they cannot go beyond their level of speed. So you have to increase the time of safety in the building by increasing the fire resistance rating, improving the quality of firefighting, improving the emergency response system, so that people can have more time to evacuate. There is no standard time. We cannot fix up the standard time of evacuation. It depends upon the height of the building, size of the floor area, and the type of people. Some people may use a wheelchair, some people may be pregnant, or some people may not use the staircase. So all these things depends. And do we need a compartment for the large building with the exit of every 30 meters? See, compartment is different from the exit need. See, a compartment is based on the size of the floor area. Exit distance of every 30 meters is if the building is not sprinklered than 30 meters. If the building is sprinklered than 45 meters, you can increase the exit travel distance. Compartmentation based on different occupancies, different area of compartmentation given in the NBC. Now 7:30. Can I take some questions, or you can choose some questions?
You can take your questions, sir. No problem.
What type of sprinkler should be used in LPG storage? LPG storage, see, the purpose of a sprinkler in the LPG storage to cool the cylinders, not to fight the fire. Let us understand it very well. So the purpose of providing sprinkler is cooling the cylinders in case of fire, so that will not burst. Okay, normally the cylinder will not burst unless it reaches a pressure point. The temperature reaches and the pressure reaches. So that is the purpose, the cooling purpose only. So the normal type that you provide, you can have. What should be done in such cases of space not available for snorkel entering the premises? See, it is a practical question. When you see the snorkel, it depends upon the height of the sprinkler. Suppose a snorkel means you are calling it snorkel, but technically that is called hydraulic platform. That hydraulic platform depends upon the height. See, if 52 meters height is there, 60 meters height is there, 90 meters height is there, and 102 meters height is there. So when the height is increasing, the base width is required more. So it depends upon 8 meters to 12 meters requirement is there. So when a building does not have that much width, then there's a problem. We cannot operate the hydraulic platform unless, suppose in emergency, we can operate the hydraulic platform in one side only in a 36-degree around. We cannot operate the ladder. Only offside we can operate it, but it's a risky point. That's all.
Sir, you have done a very good, the answers were very good actually. And the 2 points I want to answer. One is the sprinkler, which question was asked for the bullets, no? That is, normally, it is not firefighting. Namcha sir clearly told. It is only suppose any neighboring building or anything got fire, you can have a water curtain on that. So that fire, it won't pass to the storage. So you can able to protect actually the cascading effects you can avoid. It is only water curtain. It will protect the bullet from getting fire from the neighboring fire. So he has answered that one. Second thing, and regarding this fireproof cement and spear, I think my friend Deshmukh has asked this question. That concept has not worked out actually. Even my experience in Salem LPG plant, they removed it. We did the replacement for that. It is not working, and after some time, the crack is getting developed, and bullet is getting spoiled. The spear is getting spoiled because of that. Because water entering through that cement, and because of that, spear is getting rusted. So that is not accepted practice right now, and most of the oil companies they removed it now. And that is my experience. I don't know anything with any news on this. Further news on Deshmukh got, he can able to share. I can give a mic to him. With this, Deshmukh sir, if you want to talk anything on that cement.
I have a question. Once Deshmukh sir asked, I have a question. So, meanwhile, Deshmukh sir is getting connected. I would like to ask a question to you, sir. Sir, are you?
Yes, please. Yes.
Yeah, and then my question is, any suggestions to places like Ranganathan Street where you see often accidents happening? So, what would be your suggestions on these places?
Fantastic. See, we are talking of the smart governance. And so when a street is designed in such a way, and it has its own physical limitation, but the functions are so modern, and the buildings is so modern, and the fire hazards are so modern, risks are so modern in this case. So in case of any fire accidents happens, the fatality rate and loss will be so high in this case. So the suggestion is, even once we discussed with Mr. Sriram also this point of I don't know why it was stopped in between, but see, in case of fire, what should be done? That fire must be directed immediately. That must be suppressed immediately. Okay. So in this case, taking water from the street and taking hoses from the street and or by either from fire department vehicle, or even if you provide a fire tank at the street itself, and from there you have a pump system. From there you can take the water. It is not at all going to help, because it takes its own time. So what I suggest is you see every high-rise building should have the firefighting system dependent. All high-rise building must be system dependent, like a sprinkler system and detector system. So what my recommendation is here, whenever the firefighting system goes wrong. So for example, that automatic detector system is switched off, or the battery is removed, or the sprinklers water is not available, or motor is put on not on auto mode, something like that, then that must be communicated to the fire control room or police control room simultaneously, so that the people will check immediately why your fire pump system is not on, why it's not in auto mode, or why you take your detector system is off mode, or something like that. The first thing. And then the water level, see, that is called a smart management system. See, now when I have seen many buildings, they have a extra very smart management system. Even the diesel level goes down, then alarm will come. If the fire pump goes down, then alarm will come. And when water level goes down at a certain point, then alarm will come. So like that, when the public involvement is more in case of any building, then that building must be monitored by the government directly. For example, fire department are. So there is now the provisions are available. Only now the GPS system is also available. Now it is only thing the regulating authorities and these there must be a PP system. There's a public and private partnership system must be there. Our government should come forward and they should initiate all these things. There is a people are readily available to support this system, smart governance management system, so that in case of any building, as a Pothys or Chennai Silk or any risk building is there, and if the firefighting system is not in the right manner, definitely the indication will come and we'll have a check over this. And it's one suggestion is important. Second suggestion is, all risky building like this, they should have their own dedicated team of trained people well, and they should foresee the firefighting systems. Periodical maintenance must be there, periodical checking must be there, and third-party audit must be there. And in case of any emergency, they should have different groups of people, and by floor-wise or zone-wise, and they should help the occupants and the public to regulate them in such a way so that there will not be any stampede, or there will not be any other hazard factors, so that people can come out easily. And the public communication system must be there. And meantime, the government authorities also should reach in time. So this is the thing that we can do by like Ranganathan places or any other places which has its own inherent hazard. So that's the thing I want to say.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. That was very good information.
Yeah. Sir, actually, I think you recalled my memory actually.
Yeah. We discussed once, but
I presented a paper on that. What I suggested is we can have a common water storage for the entire T-Nagar, that business area. commercial area, I suggested to have a common facility and skywalker and sky monorail to reach any building at any time by the firefighting team. And they must have a common build operate facility so that the team will be always 24/7 will be there, and they will be monitoring entire building, and anything happens they will go and fight the fire immediately. That's what I proposed actually. I made a present a paper on that. I think that I also forgotten that one. You recall that memory. Thank you.
No. Your point is well taken, but my point is, the fire station is very nearby that area only, T Nagar area only. But that fire, though it is very near, that will take its own time to reach the place of fire in case of fire.
This I told to the skywalk and the monorail arrangement I suggested, so that the fire team can go to any building within reach time can be reduced.
But who will bear the expenditure, sir? So see, even if they reach, how much water they can take in, what is the system by which they can use the water in that particular area where that fire will happen, that particular, all these things must be informed, because the digital system is right now technology is very much available, so that they can, and even the monitor system, they can have a monitor system in the fire station itself, they can know all these things. Only the digitalized information is very much available. Only we people are not coming forward to make use of such technology.
I remember now. I make a tracking arrangement for the people entering that area. They can be tracked. How many people are there? How many people are going out? And
that's what the system is there. But we need to put the system into effectively and so that the people can be escaped. It's a very tough in the case of such a high use building, because normally that one more fact we should discuss here, that building is designed for a particular human load only, but overcrowded there. Even then a recent NBC says the building should be displayed with a board stating that this is the maximum allowed occupant load in this building. It is not more than that. The display should be there as per the National Building Code of India. But how many buildings are following this? So this is not being followed. So the overload will be there. So that exit will not take that capacity at all. So in case of any emergency comes in, it's really hamper. The rampant will be there. Stampede will be there. So that is why first of all, these buildings, crowd regulation must come there, and there must be the occupant load display must be there. And that must be monitored, and if the overload is there, then that must be informed to the regulating authorities or to that concerned manager, so that let him take a call on. So these are all the systems. Systems are really available. Only thing, it needs efforts, it needs cost, it needs practice. Any question?
Thank you, sir. I think we'll end this session right now. There's some technical issue which is happening to connect with Mr. Deshmukh.
Okay.
With this, we'll end this session. So I'm handing over to Divya. Just a second for vote of thanks.
I would like to quote a proverb that goes like this: fire, water, and government know nothing of mercy. Fire is never a gentle master. What goes in and out of fire and safety was methodically explained in depth by our speaker, Mr. M.NAMASIVAYAM. The threats of fire always stirs panic and fear. One should definitely watch this video on our YouTube channel Safety Cluster and create self-awareness and community awareness. Follow the safety guidelines as a mandatory approach. We thank you, sir. On behalf of Dr. Sriram, Mr. Sudarshan, Mr. Srinath, and myself, Mrs. Divya, we extend our thanks to you for sharing your exquisite knowledge with all of us on this forum this evening. This once again rekindles our civic responsibility as a civilian. Last but not the least, safety can distinguish you. Lack of safety can extinguish you. Thank you, everyone, for making this webinar a grand success this evening.
Thank you for the opportunity, Dr. Sriram and others. Thank you all. Okay, shall I leave?
You can leave.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, sir. Thank you, sir.